Okay, this is the hydraulic tilt hitch. The way we do that is, number one, you line up these holes through these pieces. The pin is stored up behind here. Place that through these holes, and then we're going to release. We're going to take these two big large pins out, one on this side, one on the other side. Take those pins out, and then you'll be able to hydraulically lower and raise that hitch so that you have full access to the hood. Before you do that, the wing must be down and deployed flat on the ground before you tilt the hitch. This is something more for service, but you may need to know how to do that. As we come around to the front of the wing, we have a safety chain on here. Goes up through the keyhole up top. That should be on at all times when transporting this plow in the stored position. Always put your safety chain on here and at the rear. We'll look at that later. This is your main pin. That'll be in another video as to how to mount and dismount this wing plow. There is some grease points on this on the front here. There's one right there so that the pin slides in and out easily. This plow is in a fixed position right now. When it's lowered and it catches, it has a little bit of a trip, but not much. If you want full trip on this wing plow, this pin gets removed and stowed in the keeper, and now this wing has the flexibility to trip at a full stop. When you're setting up for the trip, there's another pin right here that you would remove this pin from this collar, and that would allow the back of the plow to do the full trip, stretching on this spring here. Now at the back, here's your rear safety chain. There's a hook up top here that you're going to hook the chain into and up at the top of the post. And again, this is something that needs to be in place every time you transport or drive with that plow up. Sitting overnight, it should be stowed with the chain because it will drift down. We're looking at the back of it now. There is some grease points on this ram cylinder here at the bottom and the top of that. I want to make sure that those grease points are gotten. Then on the back, again, removing the wing plow will be done in a subsequent video, but these are the three pins you'll be working with there. On the scraper, we have remote grease points for the center trunnion, center cylinders. There is grease points on the outside here. You can see them at the back of that, and one down in here at the pivot points of that cylinder. That scraper rolls down when it's deployed, and the trip is inside the canisters around the cylinders. Inside there, there's a spring, and it will trip back if you're hitting a manhole or any kind of unevenness in the asphalt. So it does have a trip. But make sure you get all those grease points, the remote ones for the center again, and then on the pivot points of that cylinder. We have the chain adjustment for the body. It's right in here. That would probably have to be done soon after first number of uses. Want to tighten it up, and it shouldn't need very frequent adjustments. But that is where that adjustment is. On the outside of the body, we have a ladder. It's folded down, and where you have access to the body, there is steps inside the body that if you needed to get down in to break up something, clean it out, you can get back up out of the tub style body. Behind that we have a 100-gallon tank for your liquid salt brine or calcium chloride. There's 100 gallons this side, 100 gallons the other side. This port is the drain port that you wouldn't need to worry about until you needed to drain the entire tanks. Right behind this on the curb side we have the hydraulic pump that pumps the liquid. Again, service will need to know this more so than the operator. There's another grease point for the rear conveyor point. Rear conveyor. Yes. This is a filter for the liquid coming out. It would go into this filter and inside into the pump. So that's if you need to know where the filter is. Again, the conveyor grease point here. Now stepping around to the back, we have the spreader here, spinner. We have liquid into that spinner. That's where the 100 gallons is draining into. Those jets are inside here and they spray the liquid onto the salt as it comes out of the conveyor. Inside the spinner there's a deflector shield that you can pin up at in the center point here, or you can pin it down to either side depending on which way you want the salt to be spread. Center point is going to drop, the salt's going to come out, drop down on the spinner, and basically be broadcast to all sides of the truck. There's also shields down here that can be, this pin can be removed, and that can be raised on the sides and the rear to open up the spread pattern. If it's down, it'll keep it off the cars behind you. If it's up, it just spreads it out a little bit wider. Spread pattern out here. This whole the whole spinner apparatus is removable. We have two pins, one on either side here. It's taken out, and your quick connect here with your liquid, and on the other side quick connect with hydraulics. Then that whole spinner pulls away from the truck and can be stored for summertime use. Or if you need to dump the whole load and you don't want to dump it on top of the spinner, you can pull the whole thing off. It is a two-man job. Your conveyor is here. This gate is movable up and down, but the system is set and calibrated for this to be 2.5 inches off the chain. Keep that at 2.5 inches. Once it's set, you don't need to touch this anymore. You can control the salt flow from inside the cab and the speed of the conveyor. Okay. Moving around, here's your hydraulic quick couplers for the hydraulic motor on your spinner. Another grease point for the other side of the roadside conveyor bearing. There's the other 100-gallon tank. This is a fill point for both tanks. You would fill here and they would both fill up at the same time on either side of this. You have a shut-off valve here so there's no pressure coming back out at this, but this is a check valve with a shut-off valve here, so you'd want to open that up before you pump in, and it fills both sides. Got another ladder on this side of the truck for access into the bed. This is your roadside adjustment, slack adjuster on the chain. Again, this should only need to be done infrequently as the chain